Welcome to Inspired Woman TV, the show for the spirited woman, inviting and allowing you to step up into your greatness. I'm Ruth Cyster-Stuettgen, your founder and host at Inspired Woman TV. I'm also a business coach for women entrepreneurs, an author, and a hypnotherapist. In the show, I have the honor to interview powerful women leaders from all over the world who share their wisdom, their feminine wisdom with you, from their hearts to yours. You'll walk away with magical strategies to implement in your life and business. This is absolutely the place to be and to stay inspired on top of your game. So I invite you to stay with us for your dose of inspiration today. To kick off our show today, I'm here with Sonal Dave. Before I give Sonal the floor, allow me to briefly introduce her to you. Sonal is she's award-winning and multi-passionate, as you'll find out very soon, bringing together her experience of 20 plus years working in the public sector, entertainment and events industry. Now, as a ceremony celebrant, lady toastmaster, and public speaking expert, Sonal is sharing her knowledge and her skills to ensure life events are less stressful, special, and remembered for the right reasons. Sonal is also teaching the life skills of communicating with confidence, storytelling, and interview skills, helping both adults and children succeed in life and have a mechanism to support their mental health. Sonal is also a magistrate, a published author, and has been featured in major publications and won numerous awards. Welcome, Sonal. Thank you so much for your time to be here today.
Thank you so much, Ruth, and for reading my bio so well. I couldn't have asked for it to be any better. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
That's fine. I'm honored to have you here today, and you're from the UK.
That's right. I'm based here in the UK in London. It's very cold.
It
Winter's upon us.
That's good. I mean, here down in Australia, we're at the opposite ends of the planet, really, aren't we? So here it's meant to be warming up, but it's fairly cold. So where I live in Melbourne, it's kind of not the warmest part of Australia. So it's we're probably on the same degree level today. So tell me about yourself.
So kind of moving on from what you said in the bio, a big part of me is about inspiring women in particular, and children as well, to be a better version of themselves, and also to have the toolkit in their armory so that they can be successful in life, but also survive through life. I think we're all probably honest enough to say life is getting a little more difficult, with all the different things that are kind of thrown at us, not only from the weather, but from society, from the economic side, the financial side, the social side. All the good things that make a business plan are actually being launched at us, and trying to survive in that world currently is difficult. And then in the events side of my world, I really want people to feel that they can have the event they want of their choice. So whether that's anything from birth to celebration of life, that it's very much around the couple or the individual who may have passed away, their wishes. Because what I'm finding through my own journey in life, and also by talking to others, is that we're very much living by other people's expectations of how we should live, what we should do, how our wedding ceremony should look, what we should have at the funeral. Some people may not be religious, they may be more spiritual, they may not be religious or spiritual, but it's about, for me, there's a big part of me in my life event side which is about giving people choice. And I hope that I'm that person that they feel comfortable to come to and say, we want choice. We would rather have this rather than this. Trust me, Ruth, when I say it's not the easiest of journeys, but somebody's got to help people through this. And I feel that with my communication skills, I can start having some of these difficult conversations and make it
Mm.
happen. And then in the sort of the public speaking world, my strategy really is to get people talking, but not only get people talking, verbally talking, but also written, drawing, doodling, whatever it is, but finding a mechanism to say what they want to say. And sometimes the body language, how we use our body, can help.
Mm.
Sometimes how we use the words that come out of our mouth can help. The colors we use, if we're drawing or doodling, they can help. So it's really kind of allowing people to find their voice and then be able to say what they want to say what they're feeling, seeing, hearing, all these things that at the end of the day support an individual's mental health. And that
Oh,
is
yeah.
kind of what my public speaking strategy is all about.
That's really amazing. It's a very interesting way of looking at things or approaching it, right? Through the doodling and things like that, because that I think that sometimes that brings out when you see what people have drawn or what the colors that they use, or if it's certain shapes or if it's light or dark, you can actually, I think you can tell what is going on inside of them, right? They may not know, but the person watching would definitely have a feeling. And if it's a therapeutic way of doing it, then the person that's facilitating it would be able to know what's happening.
Absolutely. And part of so in behind me on that side, you'll see the journals that I've recently
Mm.
launched. And the beauty behind these journals is they are very much, I thought they were very much targeted to the neurodiverse community. And for those who may be watching and thinking, what is the neurodiverse community? Um, there are a number of people out there, both children and adults, who have neurodiverse conditions. Now, the word neurodiverse refers to a group of people, so when we're saying a community, and
Mm-hmm.
then the neurodivergent mind is about the individual. Now, the conditions are things like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and there is a huge range of them, and many have probably not even been named as such. But if you were to look up the word neurodiverse conditions, you would see like there's a whole range of them. And it's become quite a big topic of discussion more recently
Mm,
because
yeah.
more people are being diagnosed, Ruth, and not just children. This is adults as well. Almost adults are seeing their child or their grandchild being diagnosed and then going, hold on, that's me.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
me. And that through talking with my own friends and their
Mm-hmm.
friends, it made me realize that actually this is another way to help individuals, families to be able to write down, draw, doodle
Mm,
what they're feeling, what might have happened on a day, uh, a trigger. Was it a
yeah.
high piercing sound that triggered a behavior? Was it the way somebody grabbed someone that triggered how they reacted? All these things. For us who might be neurotypical, may look at that and go, don't understand. I don't understand. But for
Mm,
the person who's got the neurodiverse condition, it's it can be the smallest things can make them behave in a different way because of the trigger that's happened.
yeah.
So it's such a huge area um, that needs to be learnt about more, that needs to be addressed more because you never know. The person sitting on the bus next to you, the train next to you, the theatre seat next to you, um, could be somebody who's got a neurodivergent mind. And just that's what made me feel that I really need to do something. And that's
Mm,
something with a focus group of individuals, adults who had neurodiverse conditions, parents looking after children, medical people. They helped me to make sure that I structured it well,
mm,
structured it correctly, and there was a balance between, writing, drawing, doodling, and safe space,
Yeah.
safe space within
So,
their journal. So I'm really excited about it.
yes, for me personally, it's a very new thing, because I've just recently, a few months ago, somebody mentioned this to me, saying that that person had downloaded a podcast or something and was quite fascinated by it. And upon that, I then looked it up and I thought, okay. But prior to that, I assume that it's been around for a while, but it's maybe like mental health issues that's not really spoken about, or and I believe a lot of adults, like you said, a lot of adults, they realize they didn't even realize that they had it until they see themselves in somebody. And I can imagine that many people would die not knowing that they are neurodiverse, right? So what inspired you to be working with that particular?
So I had the kind of public speaking side. So public speaking is a big word in that there's a lot of things that happen under the terms public speaking. So you've got communication, confidence, storytelling, body language, voice control, how to start, how to finish, how to engage your audience, how to present with passion. There's so many things that sort of fall under the public speaking world. And one in particular that I was really drawn to was around self acceptance. So, accepting how you look, how you sound, kind of being really okay with who you are so that you then are not worried about what other people might think.
Yeah.
So, and just talking to people who were doing my online courses or who had previously attended workshops, or people I was teaching one to one, and the conversation around neurodiversity and the neurodivergent mind kept popping up in conversations where parents where it was taking them a long time to get the diagnosis, and that's all to do with just NHS processes. First of all, you have to get the doctor to refer you, and then the process itself takes a while. There is a private route, but that's very expensive. So, for the majority of people who need to go through the NHS, and it just made me think there must be something that I can do that can just help the journey, whether that's for the adult or the child. And I just spoke to people I knew who either had the condition themselves or were looking after somebody, as in a parent or a parent looking after an adult or a carer looking after an adult. And I realized that actually what I already do in the public speaking space, restructuring, refocusing, I could quite quickly create a product that would be suitable for those from the neurodiverse community. Not all of them, because for some of them, writing, drawing, doodling is something that they can't do. So it could be that they could still use the structure of the book, of the journal, but it might be that they vocalize.
Yeah.
So, Ruth, another interesting thing that came through my research was I always thought when somebody said to me, probably about 5 years ago, journaling, I was like, I don't want to journal. What's all this journaling stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more I researched, I realized there's different types of journaling. So there are those that will write,
Yeah.
woke up in the morning, had my breakfast, got ready for school. There are those that will draw, and the colors that they'll use when they draw are really
Yeah.
helpful in terms of the day. There are those that doodle. There are those that will do voice notes, either on
Yes.
their
Yes.
phone or use
Yeah.
a dictaphone. And I'm definitely a vocal journal person. So my dear husband and my two dogs have to, be my journaling team. You'll never guess what happened today. Well, I woke up
That's
and I was
actually,
learning.
yeah, that's really good that you bring that up, Sonal, because I associated journaling as well with that. But you're right, speaking to people or just bringing what's in your mind, talking to people, that's also a kind of journaling, isn't it? That's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest part of what we're not taught in society is whether it's a good day or it's a not so good day, we do need to kind of bring it out of us in whatever way works for us.
Mm.
And for some of that, we need to bring it out and then find a place of acceptance and then let go. And it's
Yes.
the letting go
Yeah.
that is the protection against mental health,
Mm.
kind of going down the wrong path of mental health. Because, um, again, another thing that I found when I was doing my research and courses around mental health is that we all have mental health. Mental
Mm.
health, there's a spectrum called a continuum,
Yeah,
and we all sit in the middle. And good days will go that way,
that's
and
right.
not so
Yeah,
good days will go that way. And then
exactly.
if you're not not so good day and then it becomes a good day, you become, so
Yes,
we're
it's like that
constantly.
getting out on the wrong side of the bed, right? And then people say, "Oh, got out on the wrong side of the bed today." But you can twist it. You can flip that switch. You don't have to go back to bed. You can just do it like, you know, you can just pretend you're going back to bed in your head, kind of thing. But you're
No,
right, and that
absolutely.
itself is a spectrum as well. And if you do, and depending on what's been happening in your life, and depending on your inner turmoil, or how you are seeing whatever it is, or what you are going through, it depends how you then react to it as well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. And I think this is what I term as these are life skills that are unfortunately are
Mm.
not in the school syllabus and they're not in the work learning and development um, courses that they offer to people in
Yeah.
work. So, which is why I think it's so powerful that people, whether it's online courses or whether it's the journals, they find a mechanism that works for them because we're all different. So
Mm.
it's very much about finding the right thing for you
Mm.
um, to work. And it kind of brings me into that whole thing about choice, that
Mm.
we so have the opportunity to have choice and we can break down those barriers and those walls and kind of follow what we want. So in my event world, for example, recently I've somehow focused on multicultural weddings. Now,
Mhm.
multicultural weddings, you can imagine uh, there are some concerns from family and extended family about how does that work, and it's not difficult. Well, you just need to spend some time understanding the two cultures and
Yeah.
then finding a way to blend them so that you can create a ceremony.
Mm.
So, for example, recently I did a beautiful wedding. The lady was Hindu
Mhm.
and the gentleman was Jewish.
Mhm.
Now, in the Hindu culture, we have the Saptapadi, which is the seven steps, the seven promises, and in the Jewish culture, they have the seven promises, the Shiva Brachot, and I probably said that wrong, but there you do find there are, whether it's the number seven or it's the number four, or there are certain things
Yeah.
that kind of do naturally blend together. And
Yes. Yeah.
so I've been really, really fortunate to have some wonderful couples, some beautiful couples, and then even destination weddings. And I haven't had one for Australia yet,
Oh,
keeping my
there you
fingers
go.
crossed.
You must
Keeping
come
my
and
fingers,
join me down here.
love to, love to. But yeah, so I'm really excited about my world right now, and that everything I'm getting to do, and just feel that I'm getting to do things I love, but I'm
Hmm.
getting to also support so many other individuals, both from children to adults to communities.
Yeah.
And to me, that just makes me want to get up in the morning and do more rather than, "Oh, I don't want to get up today," which is a lovely place to be.
Yeah, that's nice. It sounds really great. So, can you tell me one funny thing in your work that stands out for you, that you immediately thought of when I asked the question? Is there a little bit of a story that
So
was
a
funny?
funny thing I can tell you is that we were doing an outdoor wedding,
Hmm.
and it was in a field. And whilst we were doing the wedding, a few animals just decided to join us through the wedding, but we had to
Mhm.
keep going. And although internally, if you can imagine, you're just like, dearly beloved, we're gathered here today, and but yeah, there goes a sheep, and da 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 da, and there goes, and we've all got to, and you can imagine everyone's just absolutely
Yeah.
laughing and enjoying themselves. But there's so many, there's so many. We've had dogs bringing in the rings,
Oh, yes,
and
yeah.
but then they don't want to leave their owners, so they just
So
stay
they
for the
just
rest of
stay
this,
there, yeah. And
for
why
the
not,
rest.
right? Why not? We all,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. I think if I do my renewal of vows, hint hint, husband, um, my dogs will be there, definitely.
yeah, that's a really good idea. So I love that that they're included in life events as well. So you've published some works, yeah. What are they? Can you tell us just
S-
briefly about it? We
ab-
coming to the end.
Absolutely. So there's the two journals, one for adults, one for
Mhm,
children. So the Neurodivergent Mind, which is the adult journal, and then the children's journal is Write It, Read It, Let It Go. And they're both on Amazon. And I've also taken part in two collaboration books where I've
mhm,
written a chapter in each about something that was important to me. So one was around disability, as I
mhm,
live with both a physical and hidden disability.
mhm,
And it was very much around, often people think if you have a disability, you can't achieve and you can't be successful. But actually, if you have a disability, it actually makes you more focused, and you learn how to manage your days and your weeks and your months so that you do deliver and
mm,
do what you want to do. And then the other collaboration book I wrote about my history of working in the public sector and very much being a brown face in a white man's world,
mhm,
and how I went up the career ladder and all the different challenges and barriers that I faced in that journey, would be my polite way of saying it. But in both of those collaboration books, it's very much about society's view on, you know, disability, and
mm,
society's view on an Asian woman and
mhm.
how far an Asian woman should, could, would go, based on their own perceptions as opposed to looking at the individual and what they're able to do.
Mm. That sounds really interesting. So what's the name of that book, that last one?
So there's the new woman
Is that
is
the
one
one
of
that
them.
that's the one that I was into?
Yeah. And then there's also It Starts With Me is the other one where I talk about
Okay,
my journey in the public sector.
okay. That's lovely. Really good. We can pop the links to getting those books underneath when I upload this interview. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you've
Absolutely.
sent them to me, haven't you?
I believe I have,
And
but if not,
yes,
just reach out
yeah,
and
I
I'll
will reach
definitely
out
send them.
again. So I would like to, before we come to a close, what would you like to share with us a moment or a couple of moments of vulnerability in your life?
So I think one, definitely something I just mentioned about being a brown woman in a white man's world. So
Mhm,
in the public sector, I was very ambitious, and I wanted to do well. I knew I could do well, and I really remember being told people like you don't go very far. And I had
mhm,
a choice. I had a choice. Was I going to let that kind of be my maker and breaker, or is I going to go, really? I don't think so. And you can imagine, because I went, really, I don't think so, life just became difficult. It became difficult and then hard. And it almost felt like every time I wanted to go forth as such,
mhm,
um, it just became harder. I mean, even when I became a lady Toastmaster, currently in the UK, there were only three Asian female lady Toastmasters. And I remember arriving at my first event as a Toastmaster in my uniform, and the looks I got from the established suppliers, in particular the male established suppliers, it was really uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. And I think part of me wanted to turn around and go back home.
Go, yeah.
And part of me was like, no, you're going to stand your ground. You're going to do what you know you're good at. And and I did, the event went well, but I just thought to myself, I don't understand why people feel they can make an individual feel like that, whether it's
Mm,
for a moment in time or 10 minutes or, half an hour. And it's kind of made me be stronger in who I am. And in that, if I can see that a situation might put me in a vulnerable place, I almost prep myself for it so that I am prepared before I step into
mm,
that space.
right.
Prepared could be me personally, or it could be taking Ruth with me,
Yeah, yeah.
so that I've got Ruth as my support bubble.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but I think it's so important as women that we shouldn't feel like, I'm not sure about this. I feel like it might be in a bit of a vulnerable situation. Don't feel like you can't do it. Don't feel like you shouldn't step into that space. Actually, take a step back, take a breath, and think about, how can I make this situation better so
Mm.
that I can step into this space and come out smiling, shining, and being awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you. You actually answered the next question that I was going to ask you to before we finish off the snippet of wisdom. So I think that's really a good way to end, advising or sharing that before you step into that space, to ask yourself, how can you make it better, and to be prepared. Yeah. So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
And that's what I tend to do too before I get on a call or before I do a presentation. There's this prepping beforehand, and so many well-known people, or celebrities, or well-known presenters and speakers, they do exactly the same. I like to call it to get into state before
Yeah,
you step into a position. And there are many well-known people that do that as well, because public speaking is it's the number one fear.
it's so,
You know,
Ruth,
that
the
people don't
research
want to.
actually, yeah, the research actually shows that people would rather do the worst jobs in the world, or the worst
Yes.
job, or the jobs that are deemed the worst in the world, should I
Yeah,
say, than get up on a stage and do public
and
speaking.
speak. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we
But
do
actually, what
public
we're doing
speaking all
right,
the time.
I was going to
Everybody
say, what
does
we're
public
doing right,
speaking.
yeah, people seem to think public speaking is getting up on a stage in front of 500 people, but
Exactly.
actually, one-to-one speaking is
That's
public
right.
speaking.
It's
And parents
no big.
speaking to their child, public speaking, child speaking to their
Exactly.
parent.
Everything
Uh,
is, yeah. Okay, so I want to say thank you so much for coming along and blessing Inspired Woman TV with your wisdom. There are a lot of things that I wouldn't mind delving deeper into. So if you're open to coming back onto the show, and we can chat some more about neurodiversity or your public speaking or anything else, perhaps about your other books. And what is your website? Where can people get hold of you?
so it's www.sonaldave.com.
Okay, that's an easy one. Yeah, sonaldave.com. So lovely, ladies. We've come to the end of yet another episode of Inspired Woman TV. I want to say thank you so much for Sonal, for your gracious time to be here today, and for blessing us with your wisdom. And for you tuning in, thank you too for doing that. And I trust that you were as inspired as I was. Please hop on to our website, inspiredwomantv.com, and leave a comment. We thrive on comments so that we can, put on, and so that we can keep. And if you don't want to miss out on our next episode at Inspire TV, Woman TV, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube as well. All the links will be on the links are on the website, and that way you'll never miss a beat. And it's time for you to step up into your amazing future, because you absolutely deserve that. So make sure you join us for the next episode as well. And if you'd love to be interviewed on Inspired Woman TV, please go to our website, inspiredwomantv.com, and fill in the application there, because somewhere out there, there's a woman waiting to hear just your voice. This is Ruth Cyster-Stuettgen, your host at Inspired Woman TV. Have a fabulously inspired day wherever you are in this world. Bye for now.